In the name of carbon emissions, can developed nations stall the growth of other economies? Apparently, yes. We are talking about the carbon border tax that the European Union wants to levy on developing economies, that includes India, that could severely impact exports. Consequently, India has not only opposed this tax but has also decided to respond with retaliatory tariffs. Let us first understand what this whole carbon tax is all about and what India's position with respect to this matter is. What are carbon border taxes? Carbon border taxes are import taxes placed on products that were made in a country with less strict climate rules than the country importing it. This is done to help the environment and create a fair business competition. Amongst its advocates is the European Union. However, those opposing this tax believe that it's unfair to developing countries who historically have done less damage to the environment and are more vulnerable to climate change. Why was there a need for carbon tax? Some developed countries want to reduce pollution and make businesses that use a lot of carbon to pay more. But if the costs are too high, these businesses might move to countries with weaker rules, which is called carbon leakage. Carbon border taxes are a way to prevent this from happening. The European Union's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, has been a topic of debate since its announcement in 2021. The CBAM is a tax on carbon-intensive products that are imported into the European Union, such as iron and steel, cement, fertilizer, aluminium, and electricity generation. While the European Union claims that the CBAM is designed to comply with WTO rules and other international obligations, India has maintained that developed countries cannot push the burden of doing more to tackle climate change while they evade responsibilities themselves. Last year, at the COP27 summit in Egypt, the BASIC group, comprising India, China, Brazil, and South Africa, issued a joint statement that stated unilateral measures and discriminatory practices such as carbon border taxes that could result in market distortion and aggravate the trust deficit amongst parties must be avoided. BASIC countries call for a united solidarity response by developing countries to any unfair shifting of responsibilities from developed to developing countries. BRICS nations are likely to challenge it once it comes into force. Even close partners like the United States of America have cautioned the European Union against such a move. India argues that all fossil fuels need to be phased down and not just coal, which has been targeted by developed countries. The European Union has offered to collaborate with India in easing the administrative burden for businesses while enforcing the CBAM. However, there are concerns that the CBAM could hurt trade, especially Indian metal exports to the European Union after its implementation. India has challenged the carbon tax at WTO, stating that any measures taken to combat climate change, including unilateral ones, should not constitute a means of arbitrary or unjustifiable discrimination or a disguised restriction on international trade. A European Union official stated that under WTO case law, members could adopt measures to protect the environment and human health and life as long as such measures fall under one of the established exceptions to GATT rules. India may respond with retaliatory tariffs on exports if the European Union goes ahead with the tax. As per Global Trade Research Initiative, from 1st October this year, all exports of steel, aluminium, etc. will be monitored and Indian exporters will declare the carbon content of these products per ton to their importers. But from 1st January 2026, taxes will begin. This means the transition period is to get the data right. The European Union's default tax rate is €100 per ton. GTRI believes that CBAM will translate into average tariffs ranging from 20 to 35% on iron and steel and aluminium products from the current average 2.2% bound tariffs agreed by the European Union at the WTO for manufacturers. High tariff walls will disrupt world trade, and developing countries will suffer the most as they carry out the most carbon-intensive manufacturing. The developed country-led global value chains ensured that cleaner production occurs in developed countries. So in that case, what can India possibly do? India is doing its bit to tackle carbon emission. The Modi government in India has been extremely serious about handling climate change, evident from the fact that in recent years, India has not only met its Paris Agreement goals but has set ambitious targets for net zero emission. The Indian government has taken several measures to address climate change and promote clean energy. Firstly, a transmission plan has been introduced to integrate 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030. Secondly, schemes such as Pradhan Mantri Kisan Urja Suraksha and Utthan Mahabhiyan and Solar Rooftop Phase 2 have been implemented to encourage the use of renewable energy. Additionally, the government has waived interstate transmission system or ISTS charges for interstate sale of solar and wind power for projects that will be commissioned by 30th June 2025. They have also set up ultra-mega renewable energy parks to provide land and transmission to renewable energy developers for large-scale installation projects. Furthermore, new transmission lines and substation capacity are being developed under the Green Energy Corridor scheme to evacuate renewable power. A project development cell has also been established to attract and facilitate investments, and foreign direct investment up to 100% is allowed under the automatic route. Standard bidding guidelines have been developed for a tariff-based competitive bidding process to procure power from grid-connected solar PV and wind projects. Additionally, the promotion of renewable energy through Green Energy Open Access Rules 2022 has been notified. The Green Term Ahead Market has been launched to facilitate the sale of renewable energy power through exchanges. The National Green Hydrogen Mission has been approved with an outlay of 19,700 crore rupees to make India a global hub for the production, utilization and export of green hydrogen and its derivatives. The target is to achieve an annual production of 5 MMT by 2030. The National Bioenergy Program has been notified to support the establishment of plants for the generation of electricity based on biogas. Under the Gobardhan or Galvanizing Organic Bio-Agro Resources Dhan scheme, 500 new waste to wealth plants are to be established under a total investment of 10,000 crore rupees. However, if the European Union decides to go ahead with implementation of this controversial tax, it is likely to meet with a stiff response from world's largest developing economies. Let us know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Until next time, this is Richa Dwivedi signing off. Dhanyavad and Namaste.